Okay. Thank you all for joining. I know we're getting close to the holiday here, so appreciate everyone making a little time tonight. I'm going to get through I'm going to do the important stuff right off the bat. So it'll take me 15, 20 minutes, get to the important stuff. Then you can all go back to your night. And then I'll start right in on a Q&A, and I already have about 20 or 30 questions that I got on emails today. So I'm going to share some of those too. And anyone that wants to ask a question, you could do the little raise hand thing, or you can go straight to the Q&A, which I'm going to make sure is on. And attendees. Okay, so that's on. So you can go right to the Q&A, and Michael is here with us tonight. So he can answer any questions immediately in the Q&A right now as I'm talking, so I don't have to stop and wait. So thankfully for Mike, you can ask any questions, get those answered right away.
Thanks,
So,
you bet.
so tonight, so all of you that are here for the very first time, I'm going to do a quick introduction of myself again. Kind of want to give you an idea right off the bat of what the goal is for A.P.E.X. So keep in mind, this is a lofty goal. I do believe it's possible to hit it, but if we fall just a little short, that's fine too. So the goal in the next 10 years from 2026, starting in January, this will be our first season with A.P.E.X. It is an assessment that is basically going to be distributed to over 30,000 high schools, which will ultimately dictate the mandatory precautionary assessments, preventative measures for all coaches at the high school level. This is going to be something that is required within the next 5 years. Similar, I always give a comparison. This is very similar to the concussion protocols in Pop Warner. If anyone that on the football side is familiar with that, I believe it was about 15 years ago. I could be wrong. I'm not a football guy. But I remember going through it. I coached with my kid, and I remember they made me go through specific training on preventing concussions. Pretty serious and pretty legitimate and needed. It's the same thing today with all these injuries. It's no more just about concussions. We got 33 million injuries out there. And finally, a group called A.P.E.X. It is a collaborative group, have gotten together. We've been trying to do this ourselves on our own, but now this group is embedded in the high school system and is going to be the reason that these protocols become standardized, similar to Pop Warner, in all sports and for all injuries, not just concussions. So that is what A.P.E.X. and Area Scouts together has combined. Quick introduction on myself. My name is Lance Baldwin. 20 years as a dad. That is my best accomplishment in life. Still going, still having babies. And I have a 8-month-old all the way up to a 19-year-old. 25 years I've been in the sports industry. I've raised over 25 million in capital funds for different businesses, including the sports industry. 10 business builds and exits. Was an athlete, but not a good one. Baseball and hockey, and did not go far. And I could attribute it to definitely not having a support system. Don't know that I would have gone anywhere further anyways, but I definitely did not have a support system. Youth coach, all sports. I've coached everything that, I got 5 kids, so I've coached pretty much everything, I think, for the most part. Youth organization and team operations. So as we advise everyone that comes on board, you are kind of the last wall of defense here. Roll this out. There's not many coaches that are paying attention to injuries and proper movement and building that foundation of with athletes. They're more focused on performance, which that's what parents want. That's what typically they get paid to do. So that's where we come in as an organization. We have already 3,000 coaches on board Area Scouts. And A.P.E.X., we're building if you will, a sub team. We're using some of those coaches, but not all of them. And actually getting additional coaches on top of them to run just specifically A.P.E.X. and get these kids all onboarded as they get assigned to us through A.P.E.X. So these kids do get assigned. to you by postal code and sport that you come into. I coach at the high school level now, and I'm going to now touch on the Apex and Area Scouts partnership. So the reason Apex came to us, we went to about I think 26 or 28 different companies that ran software that had assessment experience, and they chose us out of more than 24 different options that they had, mainly because our software has reached 10 years in development, millions of dollars invested in this platform and everything that it does, and all of our assessments that we have been doing have been proven. They've all been built by individuals that have all reached the ultimate level, and that is why Apex chose us. And we are honored. We're not. That's not a brag. That is truly blessed and grateful and honored that we were handed such a massive responsibility to get their program, because these are their assessments, to over 30,000 high schools throughout the U.S. It is the largest athlete health initiative to ever roll out in the history of youth sports. We will work with more high school athletes than any organizations in a short amount of time than any organizations in the history of youth athletics. We've built this mainly to address the current youth athlete epidemic. We are way past epidemic levels. We have been for 10 years. And finally, again, we've been trying on our own, but there's 75 million kids out there. So it was an uphill battle. And finally, someone else has finally put their foot down as a group and decided to also make this their mission. So that is why we are kind of the perfect marriage, Area Scouts and Apex. And the only way we are going to solve this issue and get this to every athlete is obviously with a team, and that's where all of you come in. If anyone wants to do the Apex assessments, there is no risk in becoming one. You apply. If you do not get accepted, you don't get accepted. If there's already someone in your area, then obviously you can't come into the area when there's already an Apex evaluator there. But it's a simple application process, and it's either approved or not approved, and it's done within 24-hour, 36-hour period. We do a background check, conducting assessments to over 30,000 high schools, which those assessments and those scores, the data that you collect, you will be, and for whatever that's worth to you, it's worth a lot to me, to be able to say that the data that you collected will be the data used to standardize these injury prevention protocols that become, a staple at all JV varsity levels in high school. So freshmen as well. Empowering sports coaches, evaluators to become the sports-related authority. And this is really a personal point to me here, because this is where I feel this all stems from is not athletes don't have someone in their area in most cases that genuinely care about all of the variables, not just doing great, and in my eyes, some coaches, whether they have too many travel programs under their roof, or even, some of these high school coaches, varsity JV, again, I can say this because I'm one of them. We have a lot on our plate. We have our own kids. We have, we're teaching, we got, enough to do. And then we're running these teams. And in some cases, I'm not making excuses for anyone, but it's sometimes all the time that they have. So to have someone not working against them, not, saying that the coach is not doing an adequate job, so you need us there, but having an Area Scouts Apex evaluator in every area that becomes that authority to youth athletes, that makes sure on a regular basis, either quarterly or a preseason, midseason, postseason, we're doing assessments, we're identifying the weaknesses, and most importantly, identifying the things that, existing injuries, existing pain that are going to lead to injuries. We're assessing athletes and doing the corrective measures in real time before the injuries happen. Right now, we got 33 million injuries a year. And do you know when parents, when I get the emails? Because I get inundated with emails from parents. The number one question I get from parents: what do I do to get my son back to playing after Tommy John, after ACL, after MCL? Why are you asking now? It's too late. You've already had the injury. Yes, we'll help you, but why are all those questions coming in after the fact? Because the parents are not getting educated. The kids are not getting educated. They don't think it's going to happen to them. They think it's going to be someone else on the team. And 33 million injuries out of 75 million kids. I got news. It's not the other kid. It's going to be, most of you are going to, and you just better pray that it's not one of the catastrophic injuries that we're seeing out there today, especially ACL in girls. We're talking about double the injury rates in just about 6 or 7 years. We've doubled it. 33 million today. It was 20 million in 2012. So we've almost doubled that now. And we're heading that's the direction it was heading until now. So anyone that does have interest in working with kids for more than just performance, we do work on performance. But it is this program, number one priority is the health initiative side of this. So anyone that is interested, I'm going to put the link in to be part of this in just a minute. I got just about 5 or 6 more slides here. So A.P.E.X stands for Athlete Performance Evaluation Index, and you would think it would be A.P.E.I., but the X is kind of the variable, the data that you are collecting is, again, ultimately going to be kind of the last data and information to prove the rest of these injury prevention assessments and protocols and correctives all are going to be what they are when finally we launch the protocols that are delivered to all the high schools in 4 to 5 years. Those numbers collectively going to dictate what are in these assessments. So we are generating, A.P.E.X is generating, you're generating prescriptions, not just scores. So when you score these athletes, that's not where this ends. A lot of times you see an assessment and the kid gets their assessment and here's your scores, kid. And then that's it. What are you going to do with those? Are you just going to hang it on your wall, or you're going to actually address the issues that are wrong? So we went out and brought on the best of the best. Anyone that doesn't know the name Dr. James Andrews, that is the individual that worked alongside of Dr. Anzillo, who built our entire program for movement. So it is biomechanics, athleticism, sequence, and endurance. This is the area scouts movement assessment that every athlete that's come on this platform has had to go through. So a portion of base, about 25% of it, will go into the movement portion of A.P.E.X. So we included our health initiative, A.P.E.X's health initiative, and then the assessment scores and data that they needed to collect on the sport-specific side to ultimately have, again, what will be a version, because it's not going to be the final version, as we are going to continue to improve over the next couple of years, but it will be a version of what ultimately goes out as the final standardized high school assessment for each high school sport, not just baseball, not just softball, because you hear me talk about those because that's my experience. Sometimes I get emails and people say, I wish you would do other sports because I forget to mention them, but I apologize. We do every sport that is at the high school level. We are running for A.P.E.X. Strength, same exact thing. Rich Delatry, 30 years experience in the NBA. Dr. Pensevy, again, working with some of the top NBA athletes today as well. And between these two, they've been trusted with hundreds of millions of dollars worth of professional athletes. And we have a program built along those lines, that caliber, pro caliber assessments built for youth athletes. A.P.E.X also is including nutrition, neuro, mental. So this goes past movement and performance and strength and conditioning. It's easy for me to say, past movement and strength and conditioning. Performance side, again, all individuals from sport specific, position specific, skill set specific assessments for every sport built by the individuals that you see on the screen, individuals that all reached, again, the ultimate level to get those assessments and the corrective measures that get delivered to the kids. Assessments, So quite simply, download the app. You don't really need to do it right now because you can't do much with it without doing assessments, but you can download it and check it out right on the Apple Store. Everyone always asks about Apex. I mean, about I'm getting tired already. Everyone already asks about Android. It will be on the Android store in January. So I just had to kind of take care of myself first because I do a lot of the testing on the actual product that the developers do. So I needed to just get that in my hands first. So Android will follow. So what this looks like from an injury basis and an injury screen basis, I should say. This is what I'm kind of releasing tonight for the very first time, and what our evaluators who are already on board, a couple hundred just through A.P.E.X alone, are going to be running screens that are going to be, again, part of what dictates those mandatory assessments or correctives, preventative correctives to high schools. So this particular one will be one of the first trainings that all evaluators go. This is actually being updated on the platform on Monday, so 6 days from now, will be the ACL screen. So what this is going to do for athletes, on top of being brought through movement, strength and conditioning, sport specific, will also be through screens of some of the top injuries that we're seeing today, because obviously those are the ones that we really want to focus on and make sure that we have these mandatory protocols set in place in a couple of years from now. This will give the parents, because the parents and the athletes are kind of on the platform together, they can see communication, they can see all the progression. So parents actually get to see their kids getting better. They don't have to just hear us as coaches say, yeah, your kid's getting better. They can actually see it, real numbers. On top of that, so they'll see a progression percentage increase based on what you've accomplished with them or what you've fixed, because every single athlete, the assessment scores get correctives because of those scores that are individual to each athlete. So it's not cookie cutter. Not every athlete goes through an assessment, gets the same correctives assigned to them. It is per athlete. Individual athletes are getting individual assignments that you ultimately help them fix. This also will, on top of giving them a percentage of increase performance-wise, they get a percentage of risk of injury for each individual injury. So as you know, ACL injuries in basketball and volleyball are just absolutely absurd. I mean, just embarrassing. It is embarrassing. That's the level they're at. Are we going to save them all? Absolutely not. As you saw on my goal, I mean, there's still going to be 17 million, 16 million injuries out there after we're done. We're not going to solve them all. But if we can save 15 million, 20 million injuries per year, we are doing more than again, in the history of sports, we've never been at these numbers, and we're going to be able to correct it to where we're going to save the amount of injuries that have never been saved in the sports industry, and it's about time, way overdue. This will tell the parents to a percentage what their risk of individual injuries are. Your daughter has a 38% chance right now to going down to an ACL injury due to areas of that she needs to strengthen. We're going to be able to accurately give them a number that wakes up the parents. And that is my biggest thing. I don't want any more emails of how does my daughter return to play from ACL? What's the best way? What are the best exercises? What should she be doing, not be doing? I don't want to hear them anymore. I want, what can my daughter do to prevent the number one injury in girls right now? That's what every parent should be asking, and nobody's asking it. Nobody. I mean, when I say no one, I don't ever get that email. I get the email after the fact. We need to start getting those emails before the fact. And when these parents know that there is a number attached to every one of these athletes that can accurately predict injuries, are we going to be dead on every time? Absolutely not. But I would rather be, as they say, safe than sorry. And that right now, bunch of sorry parents. That's what we got. No one's playing it safe. Same goes for the Meniscus tear injury, MCL sprains, hamstring strain, return to play on hamstring strains. Can't tell you how many parents, how many athletes, pull a hamstring, especially like a grade 3, and they're getting the clearance to come back. And just you talk about, I mean, all of these injuries, and I don't discount any of them, but all of these injuries take precious time, limited time that these athletes have on the field. And I'm not talking about the elite athletes. This isn't just about them. This is not about saving an elite athlete from going to college and going pros. That too. But that's the 1%. I'm talking about the 99% that just want to play sports, and we're ripping it away from them. This is for every athlete. This is so that athletes don't need to go through what they're going through today with some of these catastrophic injuries. We're seeing 10, 11, 12-year-olds going under the knife for Tommy John surgery. These things should not be happening. So this assessment, again, will be a standardized assessment. This is the very preliminary steps of it, stages of it. This will change over the next 4 or 5 years. It will get better and better and better. We keep bringing on more team members to our sports medicine team. We are going to have this perfected. It's not going to be tomorrow, but we need these assessments to start rolling out as A.P.E.X assigns them to us. And we need to be able to hand them to trusted coaches. You have to have 2 years experience. You have to go through a mandatory background check to make sure you're able to work with kids. And that is it. There's no other obligation on your end to join the team. And like I said, unless someone's already in your area, then in your sport, then obviously there's not a spot for you. But you can put on a waiting list just in case someone does drop out of the program. We fully anticipate that happening. Coaches move sports or they move to another location. So definitely suggest, if it is already taken, to just put your name on a waiting list. And I'm going to go ahead and let Michael answer some questions. I put some slides in order of the Q&A that I got from the emails I got. So Michael, if you want to answer any of them live, you're more than welcome to.
I don't have any open questions.
Okay. So I'm going to, if anyone has any questions, throw them in there. I'm going to start on the email ones. Actually, I have a couple here from YouTube too. And then just raise your hand. There's a little raise your hand button if you want to ask questions. I'm going to put the link in for any of you want to get away from me talking. I know I can talk, so I'm letting everyone off easy tonight. Normally, I keep you guys for like 2-3 hours, and most of you actually stay, and I appreciate that. But I'm not going to do that to you tonight. So here's the link. I'll just tell you. So on this link, there are 3 options. Option A is to do the A.P.E.X assessment. Okay, so anyone that wants to be part of the A.P.E.X team, I just put a link in there. You just click on that link and select option A. It will ask you to register. You're going straight to the software. So it'll ask you to register a username and password on the software. You have to do that. And don't worry, we don't take those emails and sell them. Actually, we won't even get an email from us. So we don't use those emails to email you either. You just have to have a register on the platform so that we know you're a real person. We get a lot of bots that try to get into the platform. That's the only way to stop them. So email, password, select your postal code, select your sport. That's it. And then if it's open, you go through the background check and you will sign an NDA that you're not going to share any of that information. You do have to upload a photo because we do have some scary people that try to, use other people's ID to get on the platform because, some people out there are not allowed to work with kids. You know why? And they try some things to get access to them, believe it or not. So ID, background check, postal code, sport, and 24 to 36 hours. We do a pretty extensive background check. And then you'll do an onboard. And you'll be on board for A.P.E.X and get assigned the athletes in your area based on postal code, geographical location, and then your sport. So it will be sport specific. So someone asked what an assessment looks like. Do you have to have experience running assessments? So I let this video just play on here. Hopefully you all were watching it. This is a portion of the base assessment. I just wanted you to kind of see it because everyone thinks, I mean, there's quite a few. Was there was about 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's about 16 kids at this one. As you can see, there's a couple high school kids out there were assistants. I think there was 16, and there was one of us and two assistants. That's it. I mean, that's a 16 athlete assessment. It's all broken down in like how you set up the stations. And as I tell everyone, this is not, we expect that a lot of you have experience, and we're not here to hold your hand with you're all grown ups. You all know what you're doing. We're not here to teach you to coach. Where all we want is the data collected consistently. That's what the training is just to get that data consistent across the board. So every evaluator is giving the athletes the exact same assessment. So that's what I wanted to answer about that. And also, if you have never run assessment, you do get 30 kids at a time. You can A.P.E.X is only 10 kids at a time. So if you are intimidated by that, by any means, you can lower the number of athletes that sign up at one time. You can make yourself more available and only have 5 kids at an assessment, or 3 kids, and start off that way and build up. So yes, you do not have to have experience running assessments. You do have to have experience in your sport, though. Okay, let me see here. I don't know how I ended up on the Q&A the other day, but I wanted to know a little more about sponsorships and how they work. Sponsorships are local businesses that do love. All my girls are sponsored, every single one of them, and I'm working with a lot now. So I would say out of 10 businesses, 9 of them say yes to sponsors, to sponsoring athletes. And the reason why is a lot of local mom and pop, local dentist, local barber. You go to those businesses and say, hey, you're going to be the exclusive dentist of this community that's going to sponsor athletes. It's $99 a month to sponsor an athlete. I have sponsors that sponsored 10. Chipotle sponsored 40 in this area, 40 kids. That's 40 times 100. That's $4,000 a month that they sponsor to this one area for one of the evaluators. And now that doesn't go. What I always tell evaluators, use that sponsorship for kids that can't afford it. So go to those kids that can't normally afford a program, and they enroll in your program for that. They get 4 assessments a year to do that. So I always run a preseason, midseason, and postseason. Sponsorships love to be that business in the area exclusively as the only dentist in the community that is sponsoring kids to stay healthy. It's a good look, and everybody wins. Parents that don't have the money to afford it can now come in the program. And 2 things: you can either bring on someone from our team to help you find those sponsors, or we show you how to find the sponsors yourself. Totally up to you in that way. Or you don't have to use sponsors at all. A.P.E.X athletes come into you through A.P.E.X. So those do not have to be sponsored by businesses. Those are coming in through A.P.E.X. Okay, I'm going to move on from this screen. The other thing too is a lot of things we do a lot of like support for it's all kid based, but if we all hear those stories. I don't want to get dark on you all, but you hear the stories about misfortunes that kids have. We just raised $100,000 for this kid just in this area. He was in a car accident and unfortunately lost his feet in the car accident. The engine went through the car. And we raised $100,000. Is that going to, make that situation better? No, but at least gives him a little, comfort in knowing that he can get his house set up for, the wheelchair and all of that. But powerful platform for doing that because we have so many sports pros on the platform. I know one in particular, I think he donated $8,000 to that. Just randomly, just went on there, saw the link on our site. He's on there all the time. And went in and donated $8,000 to that kid. And so it's a pretty cool thing when you can also run those in the community, and you can also attach those kids to your sponsors. So you can have 10 different kids that you're running events for, running fundraisers for, and then attach your sponsors' names to them, and they get also seen as that sponsorship. Obviously, they got to make a donation, but they also get seen as that company, that business that's helping kids. So someone asked, as far as the any recruiting goes on the platform, is that something that parents pay for? We do not do recruiting. So I know we have everything on this platform that every recruiter and scout wants to see. Like we don't miss a detail, but we don't promote recruiting. We don't charge parents for it. So those parents that are out there paying $5,000, whatever, to get their kid recruited, you could do it here for free. And we never will. We're not a recruiting company. So just want to clear that up. I know that we show people the compass, which I'm going to show this to everyone here, the A.P.E.X compass. I'm going to just fast forward through a couple of them. What the A.P.E.X compass does, it takes all those variables on top of others that I didn't discuss here: academics, athletics, finance. If the parents can afford certain things, the parents can put that information in. Mental health, mental performance, medical, obviously, safety protocols, making sure that these kids are actually healthy. When they actually get to have the recruiter see them, they're not playing with an injury, because we're stopping that from happening. Big point. I can't tell you, too, how many kids set up a certain time to have recruiters see them, and because nobody was watching out for them, looking out for them, now they're dealing with an injury. And again, some of these windows of time, they can't get back. And this might be a kid that's just not a top recruit. Those recruiters don't come back and see them sometimes. They might be just wanting to play at a little bit lower level. They want to play, so they're not going to go after a D1. And in some cases, these kids miss these open opportunities. A lot of cases, whether it be injury or whether it be playing not to full capacity because they were not being brought through movement assessments and corrective measures. So all those variables go into one AI. So we've got 3 new AI developers on board with us. And one of them is actually one of the best AI developers in the entire country right now, and is known for that. So we're going all in on AI. There's going to be a lot of things and positions and jobs not available anymore in 5 years, and we're going to be a platform that leads the industry in AI technology when it comes to athlete development. And there's going to be a lot of positions and jobs opening up here as we hit these 30,000 high schools. So I tell everyone, if you want a company that you can come on, just make $79 per assessment with nothing, nothing, there's no obligation to you at all other than the background check. And then to be able to be in a position down the road to take a spot in industry that's not going anywhere. It's a $300 billion industry. I always suggest to people, if you're clocking into a job or you're waking up every morning and you're not happy, this is something you could just do on the side right now and follow where it goes. This is gonna be next level. I mean, what this platform does. So to add on to A.P.E.X Compass, wellness, financial fit, personal fit, injury prevention, athletic ability, academics, all this goes into one, and actually gives the athlete, not only on top of the risk of injury and making sure that those don't happen, the play opportunity percent for the schools that they select. So the parents can select 100 schools. It will tell them all those variables, which schools are the best, and not only which schools do they have the best opportunity to go to, but the ones that they actually get to play at. So the play opportunity percentage will also be on those numbers if kids go down that path. Again, that's the 1%. The other 99%, we just want to make sure that they stay healthy. They make the JV team. They make the varsity team. That's ultimately what kids are worried about at that time. That's what we want to make sure is they have that support system. This one was, I don't remember what this slide was for. I don't see the question. Let me skip this one. I'll go back to it. Important dates coming up. So someone asked, if they come on now, how much did they miss? So you missed one meeting. That was on, I think, November 9th, and we recorded it. It's on the platform, so you can go watch it. But it's November 25th, and these dates, it's coming. December 1st, December 8th, February 16th is the first phase of all these athlete assignments. So if you don't have a postal code in a sport reserved for these assignments coming in, you've already missed one team meeting that you can watch recorded, but these other ones are coming up. The training's coming up. So if this is something you want to do, like I said, there's no risk or obligation to you to apply. If you make it, you'll get that call. If you don't, then you're right back where you were anyway, so it doesn't matter. No, nothing lost. December 8th is the next team meeting. December 1st, when all the trainings are there. January, we are going to start the sports medicine team meetings, because as you start doing the movement portion of this, there will be questions from the sports medicine side that a lot of you are probably going to have. We want to make sure that those are answered. We are doing an event, a team event, a meeting, company event on, I believe it was the second week of August. I have to get the exact date. It'll be in Vegas, where everyone's invited to come out. Everyone that's on the team will be invited to come out. It is at Area 15 in Las Vegas. That was not done on purpose either. That the place is called Area 15. And we also, in 2027, I always like to mention this. No one asked this question, but I'm going to mention it because it's my favorite thing. So on top of obviously saving all these injuries, we're actually going to be doing awards for the 2027 season. It's really, and I predict 70% of the high schools will be on board by 27. It's going to take, another 18 months before the majority come on. And 2027 will be the year we record all of the, or award, I should say, we're always recording, award all of the coaches with the ones that worked with the most athletes, the ones that had the highest progression percentage. So you actually get a score as a coach. So instead of ranking the top, 5-year-olds in the state, which, as you know, means nothing, but to some it somehow does. We don't do that. We don't rank 5-year-olds. We rank the coaches, if you will, but we put percentages on them based on the percentage increase that the athletes benefited being with you. So it's not a rank, but it's a percentage that kind of lets all the parents and the kids and anyone else that, if you want to hang your hat on it, that you're the, the one award is going to be the Area Scouts Impact Shield. It's the coach that's impacted the most number of athletes that are in their program. The Health Initiative Shield is going to be awarded to the coach with the lowest injury risk percentage, because yes, you are able to lower the injury risk in every athlete that you're working with. Every athlete that you're working with. Not half, not 90%, every single one. And that number is attached to your development platform. So it basically says if you're in this program, that you've lowered your risk of injury by 20%, 30%, whatever it may be. The highest increase in performance percentage will go to the coach for that, which will be the Performance Progression Award. And they're yet same exact thing. Not only are you lowering the injury percentages that are tagged on every athlete, but you're increasing their performance. And unless an athlete, because I have to put an asterisk when I say this, unless an athlete has just outright quit on the program, which is going to happen, there has not been a single athlete that has completed any one of the assessment and corrective sequences, because we do them in a certain order of priority, that has not either barely increased or dramatically increased. Different kids are going to progress at different speeds. So from one assessment to the next, you might only see a slight increase, which is fine. Most of the time when that happens, you see a big increase on the second one. And like I said, no one's ever gone backwards. We've always gone forward as far as performance percentage. And a majority of that is just through correcting movement and getting them on a real strength and conditioning program that either doesn't hurt them or actually, helps them, which I don't see a lot of those programs that are tailored to each individual athlete, their physical attributes. that make adjustments based on the ease or the difficulty. This platform does it all. Um, how many athletes am I allowed to work with? So I just pulled this slide because it has 174 on it. I think that answers your question. So I pulled this slide up. Um, you're at 174 athletes. You're doing this full time. I say full time. That's after school, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then a weekend that you're setting aside time. Like you're working with 174 athletes. That's a lot. A majority of the athletes are on a monthly program. As soon as they get assessments, the very next question from athletes. So you get paid the $79 up front. All of that goes to you. This platform does not take a percentage of your money. So just know that whatever you're running with the kids is yours. That doesn't go to us. That goes to you. $79 up to 10 kids in assessment. That's $790 per assessment with 10 kids in it. After those assessments are done, those kids want to know what they need to do to improve those scores. And the really cool thing is, not only do the parents want to know about that, especially the dads. I got to say, there's more dads that are definitely more towards like, when's my kid going to get better, which is fine. But the moms, when they see injury prevention percentages, you won't get rid of them. Like they are calling you until they get the answer of how can I prevent this? And that, again, this is the first time I've seen that I've actually seen that from parents. Like, how am I going to avoid these injuries? I just don't see it. Like I mentioned, I say it till I'm blue in the face because it just blows my mind how many parents reach out after the fact. And this makes them reach out before the fact. And it's the only program I've ever seen do it. And it speaks volume of what we can do when we actually know what we're trying to prevent instead of just focusing on return to play. It's all I hear. Return to play. Why are we returning to play? Should have been playing. There should be no return to play. They should have been playing. And that's what we do here. We keep them on the field, on the court, on the ice, so they don't have to deal with that. Social media. People asked if we set up their social media. No, we will help you set up like a platform. We have a CRM that automates posts on social media. If you would like to use that, you can, but we are not a social media management team. We have content, like we have also, what we can show parents of what this is going to get, what their kids are going to get out of the program, that sort of thing. But you actually take that content, put it on your social media platforms and send it out, or you can sign up for a CRM system that will automatically generate those posts for you if you want to do that. We always encourage the athletes to post their own stuff on their social media if they want recruiters to see their profiles. They have a really cool shareable, what we call most of the coaches call an athlete resume. So it actually gives them a snapshot of the athlete, their progression scores. It actually shows recruiters and scouts that these kids are actually working. Like it shows them completing assessments and then fixing corrective measures. I don't know about you, but if I was a scout or recruiter, one of the top things that I would be looking for from a characteristic point for an athlete is, because keep in mind, obviously you got to have talent, but if I had, 5 talented athletes that one wasn't far off from the other, I'm taking the kid that you can see working, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, that are fixing the things wrong with them. Because I know that whatever I see today, that kid's going to blow these other 4 kids out of the water. I mean, look a year or 2 down the road, and this kid is the one that's fixing everything and cares about it and is actually making adjustments. I'm taking this kid over those other 4 all day long. And I'm safe to assume that every recruiter and scout feels the same. I've also never seen a platform that shows that kind of history from an athlete. And the athletes can share that or they can hide it. Anything that is on the athlete's profile has to be by permission of the parent and the athlete to share. And they can shut off those things on the platform if they don't want recruiters and scouts to see them. So if anyone's worried about that, that is that. We also don't share anyone's information. So parents and kids, all their information's what do you call it? Encrypted. So there's no email sharing, phone number sharing. Matter of fact, you're the only one, and the parents and the kids that can see their information. So the only time that gets shared is if the parent or the kid pushes that button themselves to share their personal info. All the data you collect does go to A.P.E.X, but not with personal information. How many areas am I allowed to work with? And it's the same thing. I pulled up here. So what we're doing this time is we're getting one coach, one sport, one postal code. You'll get the A.P.E.X assessments assigned to you. If you love it, we'd love nothing more than to count on you to be that one person in that area that cares about all those kids, and those kids can come to you for anything, whether it's to be referred to I give myself, I use myself as an example. I'm not a pitching coach. I could never be. I don't know pitching well enough. Hitting coach, I am. So I have 2 D1 pitching coaches that pitch for softball D1 schools that are my pitching coaches for my kids. So if my kids say, "Hey, I want to get better at pitching," I just send them to one of my girls, and they take care of it. I take care of the hitting. I do obviously the practices and then the games and everything else for the high school team. But I know where my knowledge lies, and I wish more people did, because that is, again, one of the other problems out there that, some organizations, some coaches, not all, but see the dollar signs and they become a jack of all trades because they know, parents will, all you got to say is, "Oh, your kid's amazing. Your kid's a D1 athlete. Your kid's going to go pro." And the parents will just keep dishing out money. That's what I see out there. We don't want that. We want you knowing your skills as a coach, and then anything you don't know, we just want to know that we can trust you to get those kids to where they belong. If we can do that on a national scale alone, let's just, even regardless of all the movement assessments and corrective measure and everything else, if I knew that we could just have one coach that actually cared, and I know the coaches, just meeting them, I can see they care. There's an energy, there's a look in the face, there's a look in the eyes, there's a passion that can't be faked when a coach actually cares. And to have someone like that in every area, in every sport, that could just guide the kids either to themselves for what they know, because they're integral and they're honest about what they know, and they know what they're talking about when they teach. And if they didn't know, that they would guide the parents to a real travel program that actually did development, not just played games, to a strength and conditioning coach that didn't, was not qualified and causing some of these stress fractures in these kids that they never recover from. It ruins their quality of life in some cases. Some of these injuries that are out there today, and people don't think of that. They think it's just for the immediate moment, and it's not. I mean, I'm on Zooms all day long. People come to us because they resonate with this. Their life has changed for the worse, and it didn't just affect 1 year or one game or one season. Goes so much deeper from a mental aspect and a performance aspect and safety aspect. So if we could just have that network of coaches that cared, we would cut down those injuries by probably 20% alone. I believe that. It's a lot of these kids are in the wrong hands. And if we could just fix that, on top of doing these, teaching proper movement, building the foundation of these athletes, sky's the limit as far as reducing these injuries. And obviously, you reduce injuries, you learn how to teach these kids how to move, wake the parents' eyes up to what's going on in the injury prevention world in youth sports. And like I said, you're talking about saving lives. You're talking about saving kids' careers. It's just, again, sky's the limit. We're at that point right now where we can make a massive difference here. I don't think that little slide was supposed to be there. Someone asked about e-com. So as you would expect, we're connect, and I tell everyone this too, whether you come on board or you don't, if you ever need anything, my email, I always kind of regret this sometimes with this many people on here, but my email is lance@areascouts.com. If you ever need anything, regardless if you come on board or not, if there's something I can help you with, if there's someone I can connect you with, pretty much tied in everywhere at this point after 10 years of this. So if there's some way I can help you get your foot in the door somewhere, I let me help, shoot me an email, say, Lance, do you know anybody with, the Baltimore Orioles? Do you know anybody with the, New Orleans Saints? Like if you're trying to do something that I can help you with, reach out to me and I'll see if I can help you. That being said, these individuals reached out to me. I've actually become dear friends with a guy named Stacy, and they do tons of high school programs, equipment, apparel, travel programs. If you ever want to do that, if you ever want to offer that stuff, I will connect you with them. I don't have anything to do with it. And to be honest, I don't want to really have anything to do with it. It's just not my side of things. But I always like to offer it to people because people have so many connections. But that's like offering all the high school gear, all of that. And you get paid. I think they pay you 20% or something for all that stuff you do. And then lastly is I just want to introduce
Max. I'm the
Max.
director of training for.
So let me see if I can stop that.
Here's Max Amato.
No, I can't. I don't want to play that whole video. So Max is our lead trainer. Anything you ever need from the platform standpoint, as far as I get people ask all the time, how do I grow my athlete base past A.P.E.X? So if you get 24 assessments from A.P.E.X in this first season, and you say, Lance, I'm working with 20 kids, but I want to like do this. I want to work with 30, 40, 50 kids. Max is our lead trainer. He's the one that can basically do what A.P.E.X is doing as far as getting athletes to you, to let you do it yourself. Bring your own athletes into the program if you wanted to do that. And that's through Area Scouts and Area Scouts licensing and Max's training if you wanted to do that. But that is totally separate from A.P.E.X, but I wanted to at least mention it. So I'm going to put our contact information here. I'm going to put the link in one more time. And I'm going to go over to, if anyone has any questions, I'm going to sneak over to YouTube here and see if there's any more here. If there's not, I'm going to conclude this. Where's this link? Give me 1 second here. So again, A.P.E.X is option A when I give you this link. Option A, I'm putting it in the chat. And this is, like I said, register your email, password, and then do your background check, pick your sport, and your postal code. That is it. All right, let me go to YouTube. How much time would I have to commit to this doing the A.P.E.X assessments? So this is one of those crystal ball things. So, Texas, Florida, California, I'll even say Georgia. I've been adding Georgia to that list of the top 3. Those 4 states are a different animal as far as like the number of athletes you're going to be working with. That is kind of my sentiment here. You don't compare an evaluator in Texas to an evaluator in South Dakota. It's just the numbers aren't there. The population's not there. The popularity of the sport's not there. So each area is different. Each sport's different. And I just had someone on the other day for that's doing a rugby and cricket. He's got all these connections in rugby and cricket, and wants to run those assessments. And I said to him, listen, again, you're going to just get the straight, whether you like it or not. I'm just going to tell you how it is. I said to him, the chances of you, especially in this first season, getting rugby and cricket assessments. I mean, I know cricket's a professional league and rugby's here now too professionally. So maybe I'm underestimating, but I said to him, you're going to probably get a handful of assessments the first season, between those 2 sports. So again, that's my point here is like, for me to say how many athletes you're going to get in the first season, second season, third, it's going to keep increasing every season. I know that we're going to be reaching more high schools every season. But I can't tell you the exact number. You can just look up the population, where you are, look up your high school. The easiest thing to do is go to the high school that's the closest to you, that's the largest high school. You'll know just from that number comparatively how many, that's a large number. You're going to get a decent amount of assessments from there. And like I said, if you continue and you like this, we contact you in 3 months, say, hey, you've done a dozen assessments so far, and how do you like it? You say, I love it. I want to do more. Then we talk about you taking over more postal codes, taking over more sports if you have experience in them. So, we can also adjust that. If you're not having enough assessments, we can fix it. So, um, yeah. Um, how many coaches do you plan on bringing on to accomplish this? That's a great question. I lay in bed with this question in my mind. Um, and I have to say, I would never guess that number until after this first season. I think a lot's going to tell of how many people are going to, coaches are going to step up, say, hey, I want to do this many more sports. I want to take on this large of an area. The more of you that like take on more of the weight, more of the heavy lifting here, the more athletes, then the less coaches we have to bring on, which I would love. I mean, I enjoy meeting everybody, but obviously it's much easier to manage a smaller team. But yeah, that's my only, again, answer to that. I'll address that question again in 3 or 4 months after this first season. I have been coaching baseball for 20 years. I love what you guys are doing, but I'm not going to be ready for a couple weeks. I got a lot of family in town for the holidays and got a lot of things planned and just don't have the time to dedicate to this. So I'd like to try to do this at the end of December. There's no time limit here, everyone. No time limit. The only thing you need to consider is your postal code in your sport. It's as long as someone is qualified and we do the background check and they come back clear, it is first come, first serve. So if they take a postal code in a sport, it is theirs if they're qualified and they pass the background. So if you come, Daniel, if you come back in January, the end of January, and it's gone, then you're gonna have to find another area or find another sport. That's the best I can tell you. We do hold a postal code for 24 hours. So if you reserve a postal code and you say, "Oh, I want to think about it," you got 24 hours, and then it goes back in the pot. But yeah, there's no. You could come back and join this in 5 years from now if your area is still open. I doubt the major sports will be. Highly doubt that, but you probably get, you might get spear throwing or something out in North Dakota or something. No, I'm just kidding. No, um, no, no, Jamie, no, can't do it. Um, so yeah, so it just goes most popular sports with the most populated areas are going first. We've already got hundreds of people that have claimed a lot of those. So just check it before you go through the process. All right, I'm gonna do one more. It'll be 9 o'clock. I thought that was pretty good time, so I'll do one more and seal it up. So the link's in there. Why does everyone keep asking for the link? Um, let's see here. Is that not going through? Mike, can you see the link there? I got people asking for the link. Oh, I'm sorry. They're coming from YouTube. Hold on one sec.
Yes,
Let me
I
put,
think they're your other people, though.
yeah, 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 let me get it over there. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. I kept putting it in. I'll put it in both of them, but I forgot about you guys over there. Sorry about that. Sitting here telling everyone to click the link and there's no link. Um, how long does it take to complete the training? So this is also there's none of these are like cookie cutter answers, but this one's relatively. If you're if you're someone that already has experience, you're going to get through the training really quick. Someone that doesn't have a lot of experience, like in movement assessments and um, some of these injury preventative screens, it's probably going to take you like 30 days. But the good news is this is starting on Monday. It's all being put on the platform. So you got until February 16th. So the good news is you got set February 16th to train until you get the real assessments for the first season. Bad news is if your area is taken, you can't train at all. So that's the only stipulation that you got on here. There's no risk, no nothing other than that. All right, one more. Sorry, I got just hit with like 12 more here. I'm just gonna pick the best out of these 12. Sorry,
Hey,
guys.
Lance. Hey,
Yeah,
Lance. Can
yeah,
I throw in one that I think is
yeah.
is
Go
really
ahead.
good?
Yeah, let me pick one
And,
while you do
and
that.
okay, this one, and Lance, I would love you to answer this one. This is, and so would Terry. The question is, after assessments are completed, we can then offer a training program that we created or what Apex wants us to do. Now, I answered that with, I would think we need to stay with the Apex guidelines with their athletes. Area Scouts evaluator position would be the role if you want to participate with training programs. That's how I answered that. However, I think Terry wants to go a little further with that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna read it again.
Yeah, thank you. From Terry R.
Terry. After the assessments are completed, we can then offer a training program recreated. Yeah, so yeah, Terry, thank you for reminding me. And yes, Terry, I
Yeah,
talked to
great
the other
question.
day.
That's
Yeah,
why I
it is.
wanted to.
So if anyone actually had a woman on today that I talked to that I have never in my life, I'm gonna put you on mute, Mike. There's a little background noise. I have never in my life. I just had her on a call at I think 6 o'clock. I hope she's on here tonight so I can compliment her again. I've never seen the degrees on someone that this woman had. Like I don't even know how you accomplish that many degrees that she has in everything imaginable related to um, sports psychology, um, sports medicine. Like this woman just unbelievable. I can't say enough. And so she spoke about uh, having all these qualifications. She wants to be able to help her athletes on top of Apex in some of these areas that she's got all these degrees in. So, sports psychology for certain age groups. And I mean, again, like way over my head, some of the things that she knows. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I can speak her language because I cannot. But so she can, like Terry has one too. Terry has, I forget your program, Terry, if you don't mind putting that in there so I can say it. Um, Being able to also in your network. So say you decide, yeah, I'm going to go all in after I do some of these Apex assessments. I want a whole area. All of the athletes in that area on that go through your program, you can host your own programs inside your platform. So let me share my screen. I'll do that so you can see. I'll show you exactly what I mean. So you can have your platform that all your athletes and parents see at all times when they log in to see their assessment scores, everything. And this is is what a profile looks like. So I'm not gonna show you any of the personal information. So if I click this button right now, you're gonna see all these athletes information, their progression scores, everything. So I can't do that because they're kids. But that's where all the athletes are housed. If you come down here, these certifications and trainings you can assign to your kids, to your parents. You can offer these anywhere you want. They're online. So if you have a program like this, I'll use her as one example. She wants to do sports psychology for particular age kids, which is going to be phenomenal having that coming from someone trained like her. So those athletes can sign right in, and she can do live Zooms with them. She can come in, have them take those courses that she's offering or those trainings in psychology for kids right through her platform. So, and I know Terry has one too. So this is all yours to do. So if you just tell us, what you want up there, you just give us the content, and our operation team will put that right on your platform to offer your kids. And you can offer it anywhere. If it's an online like that training, you know, um, get it out to everybody. Ask other. You're gonna all know each other too. So if you're a baseball guy, and you're running a specific mental training for baseball players, say, and you get with all the other baseball coaches, say, hey, this is the program I just launched my athletes. Would you guys want it for your athletes? You can just, they can actually be assigned that same one, and you can share it to them to share to their athletes. So you can also do inner network things as well on your own if you want to offer those programs. That being said, that does not substitute our health initiative. Keep in mind, we always go back, always never leave behind what we're doing here. That is number one. And your stuff, with all due respect, has to be number two. So they have to go through the A.P.E.X assessment, or they have to go through at least the base movement assessment through the area scout side before they can start doing that stuff. So we just want to make sure we're sticking to what we created all this for. Um, Terry uses the triphasic training system combined with cognitive training. So yeah, I remember the cognitive training side, Terry. So that's what Terry does, and that's what he'll be able to offer on his side to his kids. And you could easily combine both with the corrective exercise you guys provide. Yep, that's all we want. And again, this is the same. So a lot of coaches come on when we onboard and they say, "Hey, I do this for athletes. I do X for athletes, strength and conditioning for athletes, and I have certain ways I like doing things. Is this a conflict of interest?" No, like we know you do those things. Trust me. When we know who you are, we know you're a reputable coach with a name and you know what you're doing, because that's what the background check does, not just criminal. We make sure you just are who you say you are, because that's, like I said, if we could just have one person in every area that we know is helping these kids, that's what we want. So that's where we start. We make sure we at least, know who you are on the surface. If you turn into a lunatic in 30 and in 3 months, I don't know what to say, but that could happen to any of us. I got 5 kids. I could turn into a lunatic any day. But if for some reason you go off the rails, then yeah, we're not going to be able to keep you on the platform. But I feel like everyone I've met has been, like that woman I met. Everyone's kind of got a story that's pretty cool and is pretty energized on the calls, and you can tell, like I said, that you care. So, um, do you have any more over there? Hold on, let me answer one more on my end, and then I'll go check that one more time. Are we able to split one postal code if we knew which sport we were both in? So, if you're talking about, if you mean find another coach and come in, or do you mean you want to, is someone taking your area and you want to split that with them? Because that's two different answers for sure. Mel, could you answer that for me? I just looked up my postal code, and the postal code is taken. So yeah, no. So no, someone's not going to give you half their postal code. Um, but I would say put your name on the waiting list, and if they do need help later, because I will say that. I mean, there might be a day that comes that they're working with X amount of athletes, and they, have a couple kids at home, and they have a full-time job, and they can't dedicate any more time, so they need help. We've had that happen. So if that happens, but that's not going to be for probably 2 seasons, just until they get to a point where there's too many athletes. Because as I showed you this, I'll show you this one right here. There's 116 athletes. So it really depends on how many kids you can handle and that person can handle. And they might not want you in there anyway. We don't do that. We don't split codes after. But if I have had people ask if it's a husband and wife team, or you have a partner, that you coach with, maybe you coach a baseball team together or something, you guys want to do it together, you can do that, obviously, with both of your consent to do that. But you both have to go through background checks, obviously, because you're both with the kids. All right, let me just check. I'm done with YouTube, guys. Thank you for coming on YouTube. I'm gonna see if there's anything else on the other side. Thank you, Terry, for giving me that information too. And thank you for the question. It was a great question. I need to actually include that in the normal presentation so people know that. And then Michael, I'll let you actually tell your story, Michael, and it's a quick story, and then we'll conclude.
Oh yeah, you want me to just jump in real quick?
Yeah, just go ahead and tell them, like,
Be brief and
yeah,
concise so you don't scold me, right?
you got 5 minutes.
I'll hurry. Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Michael with Mountain West Area Scouts. How are you? Very happy to be here. I just want to share a little of my passion and reasoning for joining Area Scouts. For me, it was essentially a no-brainer. I mean, they checked every box, covered every base. Ultimately, the more due diligence I did, the more Area Scouts met all my parameters, my requirements, and certainly my goals. I've been in the mortgage business for the last 25 years. So sure, I've found reward over that time frame, but no true satisfaction. Essentially, there was a huge void. You know that old adage, you never work a day in your life. You know, if you do something you love, something like that. Well, I'm 61 now, and I'm finally achieving that goal. And that's thanks to Area Scouts. I got involved a couple of years ago, and it's been truly fascinating just to watch the growth, and not only the growth in the company, but the growth with the kids, the what this can actually achieve. Here's a quick story. This is my son. It's a tremendous success story. It happened with he's a former D1 hockey player, and he helps coach the high school team in his area in Colorado, and helps run the youth program too. So hockey is very, very, very predominant in this area of Colorado. He had a boy who was declining. I like to say the lead athlete because he was a young varsity player, and long story, hopefully not longer. He was declining to a point where the parent came to my son and didn't know if he could address him in the form of, is it girls? Is it drugs? Is it, what are these obstacles that are in my son's way right now? They didn't know. And they, of course, asked him, but 15-year-old boys sometimes don't talk to mom and dad, as we know. They usually would talk to their coach, though, and he wouldn't even do that. And my son's my son is very, he's a comforting person. He's a warm and fuzzy guy. So we did an assessment on him. And this was a year and 8 months ago. I'll just say 8 months ago. He did an assessment on him. The kid was great. No problems. He was fine. He passed evaluation with flying colors. So we thought with the parent, let's do another evaluation on him. Maybe it's, we asked if he's hurt. He said he wasn't. But a lot of kids do that. Let's do the evaluation anyway. So they did. And sure enough, it was the very first exercise, as simple as a standing toe touch. And the boy could get down to his right ankle, but he could not get past his left knee. So if you could picture that, very teeter-tottered effect. So Drew stopped right then and there, FaceTimed me, the parent, and they had to have him go to his general, and he went straight to the physical therapist there, Dr. Stedman in Colorado. They did an MRI immediately. Within 4 days, they had him on the operating table. He had a torn piriformis muscle. This kid was skating for my son. Let's say he did the evaluation 8 months ago. We don't know for how long he had a torn pir, but he didn't have it 8 months ago. So my son changed from doing evaluations once a season to making sure he would assess these kids every 3 months. So that's the importance of every 3 months. The boy, he's back on the ice now, and he's better than ever. And I had to ask my son why. The question still remains why he didn't share this with anybody. And this is important for all of us. The boy didn't share it with my son because he said he was afraid to lose his starting position. How many of you just got goosebumps? So for those of you that did, you have the passion, and we would love you to join Area Scouts. That was pretty good. I flowed right into that. You see that? How that Lance, that was pretty good. That was pretty good for not scripted. But thank you, everybody. If you have a passion for youth sports and you want to earn a living in the sports industry through licensing, partnerships, sponsorships, we want you. We want you guys. So thank you. Thanks very much. Was that 5 minutes?
That was great. Thank you, everybody.
I was looking at the clock too, man. It was.
Everyone have a great Thanksgiving, and I wish your families a great Thanksgiving. I'll be thinking of you all when I'm eating my turkey, and look forward to. We'll be back on Friday night with a guest if anyone wants to come on there. And little by little, we'll be kind of unveiling a lot of this A.P.E.X assessment for the world to see, and for parents to see. And look forward to working with many of you that already came on board. and finally ending this epidemic. So thanks, everybody. Have a great